Hello everybody, I'm Sergeant Aaron Rode, Media Relations Officer for the Vancouver Police Department. Today I'm going to be having media release on commercial break and enters, but we've also got a new system of call-in questions, which we have sent out with the media release. If anybody does have any questions, they can call in and put themselves in the queue. After the news release, we will go with questions from people that are present in the media room today, and then I will ask everybody to hit *1 at that time. Don't do it yet, and then we'll go to questions which are online, and we'll take that one at a time. This is the first day, so please bear with us on that. Vancouver Police have arrested 2 chronic offenders, resulting in 70 separate charges related to commercial break-ins in Vancouver and surrounding communities over the past few months. We believe that the arrest of these 2 suspects and the subsequent charge approval will have a major impact on commercial break-ins around the city. However, the efforts to target property crime offenders will continue. Detectives from the Vancouver Police Department Property Crime Unit have been investigating the rise in commercial break and enters in Vancouver since the COVID-19 pandemic first began. And targeting Vancouver businesses, multiple businesses throughout the city have been closed due to physical distancing rules, and criminals have been targeting the closed and vacant store buildings and retail establishments. In addition to this, and other projects by investigators, VPD patrol officers have also been targeting property crime by increasing visibility in the hardest hit areas and deploying more patrol officers and community safety personnel. On April 3rd, we did arrest 44-year-old Burnaby resident, Shane Duhamel, for a number of different offenses. 14 counts of break and enter, 21 counts of failure to comply with a probation order, 2 counts of breach of release order, 2 counts of possession of break-in instruments, and 1 count of disguise with intent. On the 29th of March, we arrested 33-year-old Burnaby resident, Jesse Polanio, for 7 counts of break and enter, 13 counts of failure to comply with a release order, 1 count of possession of prohibited weapon, 2 counts of possession of credit card data, 2 counts of possession of ID documents, 3 counts of possession of stolen property, and 2 counts of theft under $5,000. Both Duhamel and Polanio have been in custody since their arrests. I think you have to note that they were arrested for the break and enters, and these are all commercial break and enters. Our investigators have been able to tie them to close to 70 different counts since they've been in custody. So these offenses drew back to November, with the majority of them happening since the pandemic started on March 12th. We are still asking businesses to move property out of view of criminals, use shutters to reduce visibility, upgrade their locks, and increase lighting levels to ensure businesses are well lit. Together, we can stop businesses from being targeted during these unprecedented times. We want to thank the BIAs around the city, as well as retail businesses and other commercial areas, which are doing their part to work with us as we work with them to target commercial break and enters and go after these criminals who are targeting them during the pandemic. Is there any questions from anybody who's here?
What kind of businesses are being targeted? Is there a wide range?
It's a very wide range. For what we're talking about today in break and enters, these are commercial businesses. So it could be retail stores, any type of business in Vancouver, surrounding communities and surrounding cities that have been left vacant or relatively vacant since the pandemic started. Everybody's trying to adjust to do what they can to socially distance and to get through this pandemic and do what we can to get back to normal. These criminals were targeting since March 12th, seeing that the opportunity was there. They've done an excellent job in boarding up, doing what they can with security, moving property out of the businesses and out of view of the criminals.
And have you noted any particular measures that these commercial businesses have taken that have been particularly successful in keeping people out?
Well, the points we have mentioned is moving property out of view of the criminals. What we have seen is people boarding up, using shutters, blocking out their windows so that it's not visible to the criminals, upgrading their locks, making sure that they have it's well lit and the lighting is higher visible so people can see what's going on. They're also having security who are working in the areas. I know that's not always economically feasible, but it does help for the businesses in certain areas. They are coming together and working as a community to get through this all as one.
And you noted that, this is a large, they were responsible for a large number of break-ins. And what kind of patrol, were patrols stepped up by VPD and other police agencies in order to catch, were any of them caught in the act by VPD?
Yes, they have been. There have been, and we have proceeded with charges. We had over 40 people arrested. We notified people about a month ago. These two individuals were responsible for upwards of 70 different counts and close to 20 break-and-enters, commercial break-and-enters throughout the city. So we can see that a small number of people are having a huge impact on our businesses in our communities.
So is the overall property crime rate dropped or stabilized since these two have been in custody? Because they've been in custody for quite a while.
They have been in custody. We saw a peak in late April of about 98% on average, what we have noticed throughout the year. So there was a large spike, and we were notifying people of that. That's why we were reaching out to the communities to make them aware of the situation and to keep their eyes open for these criminals out there. We have seen a substantial drop of about 50% from that time. We are still up around 24% on average around the city, but compared to almost 100% increase, which we had seen in late April, we feel that these measures are working for what our investigators are doing, our frontline officers are doing, as well as the BIAs and these businesses who are doing their part to target these criminals and try to stop it.
Where are the stolen goods being taken to be sold afterward?
I don't have that information.
Was any of it ended up on the street markets in the downtown east side?
From these two individuals,
Yeah.
I don't know where it was. We do know that we conducted a search warrant in Burnaby at a residence in regards to if any of the property ended up on the street, as in possibly the downtown east side. I don't have that information. I'm going to be, is there any other questions for anybody that's here? I'm going to be opening up the questions to people in the queue. So I'm going to ask you to hit *1 at this time, and you will be put into the queue. So again, if you're on the queue on the phone, can you hit *1, please? And is anybody there?
Hey, it's John Woodward from CTV News. I'm wondering if you can tell us, what proportion of all crimes these two guys might have been responsible for, to try and get a sense of how much damage just two people can do.
Well, I don't have the numbers for the exact percentage of commercial break-and-enters that we have noticed. We did have an increase of close to 360 commercial break-and-enters in the month of April alone. For how many these two individuals have, we did arrest them for close to 20 break-and-enters. So that is a large number for just two individuals.
And just to follow there, do you have any other people that you're still looking for, like people who are out there that you might put out kind of a wanted poster, if you will?
Our investigators, as well as our frontline patrol officers and the partners from the BIAs and commercial units downtown, we're not stopping. We do know that there's other suspects out there. Our investigators do have suspects in mind and people who we have identified. We are continuing investigations, and we are hoping to have more charges in the future as investigations proceed.
All right, that's it for me. Thanks.
Thanks, John.
For me?
Hi there. Can I get your name and where you're from, please?
Hi, Erin. It's Kim Boland.
Hi, Kim.
Hello. Hi. I guess I'm just looking in CSO, and both these guys were already out on bail for many previous charges in various lower mainland jurisdictions. Are you confident that they will be kept in, given that many people are being released that might not otherwise be released due to the COVID pandemic?
Well, Polanio has been arrested and been in custody for a month and a half. Our investigators have been able to tie him and link him to a number of different charges, which we have outlined. And that includes the 7 counts of commercial break and enter, which we did list. And Shane DeHammel, who is a chronic offender, has also been in custody for about a month and a week and a half. So they have been remanded into custody, and we expect with charge approval that we are anticipating that they stay in custody, but that really is up to the courts. Our investigators are presenting the best investigation that we can, and we are recommending they get remanded into custody.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there anything else, Kim?
No, that's good. Thanks.
Okay, thanks very much. Is there any other question? Hi there. Can I get your name and where you're from, please?
Hi, it's Jane Side from the North Shore News. I was just wondering, these particular incidents and the charges resulting, are they all within the city of Vancouver? You referred to the surrounding communities. I'm just wondering if any of them were over here on the North Shore or not.
So this was a multi-jurisdictional investigation, which was led by the Vancouver Police Property Crime Unit. It did go into 5 different cities: Vancouver, Coquitlam, Burnaby, Abbotsford, and Richmond. We did not have any arrests which were conducted in North Vancouver or the city of North Vancouver.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other questions? All right.
Do you mind if I get a little wider shot of these?
Yeah, that sounds good. We have no other questions online. Is there anything else that you guys like to ask here?
Yeah, just one more thought of sort of what Kim was asking. So these 2 were in custody. I assume they are 2 of the 40 you already announced, right?
Yes.
Of those 40, are they the only 2 who were actually in custody? Because as we know, a lot of them are being released, right?
A lot of them have been released.
Yeah.
We do know that these 2 have been remanded into custody, which means they've been kept in the jail since they were initially arrested. We were able to link them to a number of different incidents since they've been in jail. So our investigators have continued their investigation to get the best file that they can. That's where we're able to come up with a number of 70 different counts and charges that we have presented to Crown for their review. In the number of 40 individuals that we didn't initially arrest, many were released. Some were initially held and then released afterwards, but that is up to Crown Counsel on how they're going to proceed for each investigation. We feel that these 2 did have a major impact on commercial break and enters in the city of Vancouver, as well as our outlying partner communities around the Metro Vancouver. Is there any other questions? Is there anything else that you guys like to chat about?
I'm just going to get a little wide shot here.
Anything to tell us?
Chat
Anything else
about-
to
no.
tell us? Come on.
Hey, that's-
Any updates on Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer looks
anything?
very nice right now. It's
Is
very
it?
clean.
Yeah. Is it coming along the way that the city and the Parks Board wanted to? You're pleased with how it's come through?
BC Housing was able to get people into housing, which we're pleased about. Vancouver Police did what we could to facilitate and work with those partners around the city. And the city is in the middle of cleaning up that location at this time, and you'd have to ask them for any impact on that time.
Crab Park, is there any plan to move in on that one?
Crab Park is being looked at by the Port of Vancouver. They are looking at their options right now. We are aware of what's going on at Crab Park, and we are speaking with the Port of Vancouver. At this point, we are going to monitor the situation and take their lead on how they want to proceed. Thanks very much.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right.